I sometimes can't tell what's real life and what's a dream.
It always starts just with one word, and then one line, just a line at a time. You know, sometimes the big picture can drive you a bit crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the estranged and exciting life of Omar Musa. Today we have an insight into a poet, an author, an MC, and a human.
So I grew up around all these people from far-flung regions of the world, but they were trying to make a life in Australia and kind of build a community, and that always fascinated me, and I've tried to get my head around that in my writing. I've written my first novel that's a bit dreamy, that it's about hip-hop, graffiti, greyhounds, drugs, bushfires. I feel like dreams are inescapable. They're literally inescapable. They're like taxes or death, you know. And so why not deal with dreams? Nah, spin the crystal ball for me. Gunslingers, let your pistols fall for me. Let the pitfalls fall and the pit bulls out while the devils and the angels call for me. The three main characters in the book, Solomon, Jimmy and Alex, all of different backgrounds, and they all grew up in the flats. I've been trying to get my head around that. These people that come from villages and then sort of create their own villages in Australia, but with people from all around the world. The galaxy spinning in my head, rep for the paupers and poets that bled, the refugees that fled, the nights where I fell to my knees and I pled. I think that a lot of us in this life drift between worlds. So I wanted to write real people, people with flaws. Yes, they do some bad things, but they're complicated human beings and their stories matter. Solomon Musa is a Samoan-Australian guy, and he's a failed basketball player who sort of always defined himself by his body, by basketball, and he had a really bad injury. Solomon, I guess, finds redemption through basketball. He starts teaching kids how to play and starts like a little youth group, and that's actually how Solomon ultimately tries to redeem himself. Ooh, sharp. I wanted to find a form of poetry that was exciting and that was for young people and that was talking about things that I could relate to, not the stuff that was written by like an old white man like 400 years ago, you know. So, just to show you I'm not a hypocrite, I wrote my own little poem. Who knows what it'll turn into, maybe nothing. I might just scrap it and throw it away. Maybe it'll turn into something, I don't know. What delights in stories? What insights? What power to give voice to the worlds inside? But there are many types of stories. You know, I write blood poetry. I write poetry of unease. To me, if you can't look at the darkness, then you shouldn't be an artist. The book is based on Queanbeyan, but the town is not Queanbeyan. It's sort of a figment of my imagination. And I guess the book in many ways is just a long hallucination about summer and fire and madness. Outside that fence, there are the unmarked graves of a lot of Aboriginal and Chinese people because they were considered heathens, so they couldn't be buried here. And I guess those sort of things echo, you know. What side of the fence are you on? Our history of violence, history of segregation. Our history echoes in Australia. We have problems with the idea of community and that there's a lot of emphasis on the individual. People are seen at a very superficial level, and I'm trying to get beneath the surface and show that these are humans and they've got stories and their stories are important, and that if only we invested a little bit more time in getting to know and understand our neighbours, Australia might be a little bit of a better place. not in agreement, or maybe it's maybe. Morality parameters are drawn too vaguely for a simple man like me to understand. Parabola, a curveball pitched underhand. Wonderland of 8 balls, shade balls of wastrels. Ecstasy, capital, mentals incapable. Dimmer days draw to a close, the city calls. At the end of the day, the sinner takes all.